We had the legend John Popovich on here with us. John, I've told people about this. I don't know if you remember this, but you probably don't. But back in 1995, you were doing Sports of All Sorts, and you had fans come in and do a show.
Oh, yeah.
And you had a crazy-haired, skinny me come on there with you.
And you had a lot of hair and you were skinny.
Yes, exactly.
I don't think I was at that time.
Well, I'm not skinny now. That was a while ago.
I remember, right? We used to do a fan show, maybe a couple fan shows a year.
Right.
Did you come on just the one time?
Just the one time, yeah. Just the one time.
And what were we talking about at that time?
I don't remember. It was 1995. It was a long time ago. It's Reds or Bearcats or I don't remember, to be honest. I had the recording of it on VHS, but that doesn't exist anymore. So let me make sure. There we go. You got to turn the mic on. It helps.
Yeah, those tapes probably still exist somewhere up in the archives of Channel 9.
Up in the attic.
And I haven't seen them for 5 years because I've been retired. But that was fun.
Yeah.
We started doing sports of all sorts because of football season.
What year did you start doing it?
Well, it started in 1980.
Okay.
December 21st, 1980. But then we went to make the talk show in the Bengals' second Super Bowl season. So that was the 88 season.
Okay. Yeah.
And we started to do that. Well, that was great, except that once you got out of football, what were you going to do for a whole day?
Right.
Then we went from a half hour to 45 minutes to an hour. So that's why we created things like the fan show.
Yeah. And you had call-in, too.
Yeah, we did. I mean, we did fishing. We did memorabilia, that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And those shows were fun because you were operating on the seat of your pants. You never know, especially if you're brought guys.
Kind of like what I'm doing right now.
Yeah, I'd still love to do that.
Yeah. I remember it was the fishing stuff. What was the fishing?
We call it the fishing edition.
But they did it at the convention center. Then they had the
I did it a couple times when they were doing the boat show.
Yes, the boat show. That's what I was trying to think. Yeah, I remember that. I couldn't think of the name of the show.
No.
But hey, let's just talk about. We're here for the Reds Community Fund here, and let's talk about a little bit of what does the Reds Community Fund mean to you, and how much has it impacted the city of Cincinnati?
Well, I just heard Charlie Frank saying the money that has gone into the community fund has helped renovate or build 400 baseball fields.
Nice.
Now, I don't know how old you are, but
I'll be 50 in April.
If I could have found a nice baseball field when I was a kid,
mm-hmm.
I mean, we made our own fields, made our own bags and bases and all that stuff. The fields out there are just beautiful right now.
Yes.
And a lot of it has to do with them. I know they've probably gone around to the high schools, to the little league fields, knot holes, whatever, and done that. So, and softball as well.
Yes.
So I think it's been a big boost, and it also keeps baseball in probably a premier section. Baseball when I was growing up was the premier sport.
Oh yeah.
And now you got a lot. You're not just football and basketball, but you got kids playing hockey and soccer and lacrosse and whatever. So it's I'm all for all of those sports, but I love to see when somebody is still doing things to promote baseball.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and to your point, I live on the west side, and they've renovated at least 3 or 4 in my area that have just boosted the level. I won't say the level of play, but yeah, I guess the level of play because you have a nice baseball field to play on.
Yep.
It makes it you don't have rocks in the way and bumps of grass and the stuff they had when I played. It was like you're lucky they drug the field sometimes. Stuff. So
I know playing when we were, it was even tough to find a level field.
Yes,
that would include all 3 outfields.
Yes. Exactly. All right, so let's talk about. We got Pete Rose shirt on here right now.
Yeah,
it's the first year we're going to be without Pete. And there's lots of rumors going around now that they're going to let him into the Hall of Fame. That he's passed away, unfortunately, which I think a lot of us thought that's probably what would happen. But what is your thoughts on Pete Rose? What he meant to the city, and just as a sports broadcaster, what he meant to you?
Well, he was one of those guys that he was larger than life when I came here in '79. He was already gone, but he never was too big for me.
Yeah,
when from the time I went to see him in Clearwater, the time I went to see him, I remember the first time I met him was going over. He was playing the ponies over at River Downs, hey, no problem, my problem. Come on in. Let's talk about baseball. Do this stuff.
Right.
He was always great to me, and he was always, he was the greatest friend baseball ever had.
Oh, yeah. They should have taken more advantage of him. than they did, I think.
Yeah, and
He was awesome when he was on Fox the last couple of years. He was on Fox doing their pre- and post-game show.
yeah.
That was
I agree with you.
Hmm?
And nobody was a greater reservoir of knowledge
Oh,
about
yeah.
the game. How many times could he tell you something like that about tell a story and he says, it was a 2-2 count and this guy threw me this and that.
Yeah.
He had this great memory. I feel bad always what happened to him. I don't know if he'll ever get in the Hall of Fame, but he certainly deserves it.
He definitely
I
deserves
just
it.
think if you just count what a guy did on the baseball
Right.
field, that's where he belongs.
Somebody got those hits.
Yeah.
Exactly. So we are starting on the 50th anniversary of the Big Red Machine, the back-to-back 75, 76. I'll be 50 April 14th, which is Pete Rose's birthday. So I was around. I don't remember it all that well. But what came here in 79. Just in general, what was that team like just from the outside in, just watching that team?
Well, I'll tell you this. I was going to college at Ohio U in the early 70s when the Big Red Machine was being built. So when you're at Ohio U, they're getting a lot of kids from Cincinnati, and I was from northeastern Ohio, so I was an Indians fan, and that we'd come down, and we saw all these young people,
Right?
And all the great young players at the Reds, and of course in 1970, Pete Rose ran over Ray Foster, who was the Cleveland Indians catcher, a catcher of great promise. So I wasn't fond of Pete Rose to begin with. Didn't like him one bit. He knew that. We'd talk about it over the years, but his feeling was, what can I do?
Right.
And then I got to work in Dubuque, Iowa, then Davenport, Iowa. I was working to the NBC station in Davenport, and so they were carrying the 1975 World Series.
Okay.
And I was a big baseball fan, but I'll tell you what, even if I wasn't, that World Series
it's awesome.
was going to make you.
And just despite what Boston fans think, they lost.
Yeah, they lost.
Carlton Fisk did not win the World Series, just to let everybody know.
Yeah.
Because for some reason that sometimes they think they'd won and they didn't.
Well, one of the most famous shots is Fisk hitting the home run, waving it fair, and everybody thinks that was like the walk-off. Well, it wasn't.
Let's try that, Mike. They're saying they have a hard time hearing you.
How's that? Is that a little better?
I hope so.
Okay. But he was, the one thing was, in those days, you only saw a couple of games a week. NBC had its game of the week.
Right.
And I always used to say, we were an NBC station. I used to call it the Reds game of the week.
Right. They're always on.
This week it's the Dodgers. This week it's the Giants, whomever, the Cubs. They were always against the Reds because that was the glamour team in baseball.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, and we'll never see a team like that again, I don't think. I mean, the infield should all be Hall of Famers. David Concepcion should be in there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a travesty he's not in.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you're never going to see a team that talented again, I think.
Well, you're certainly not going to be able to afford, and what you have to do is have a great deal of luck and have a bunch of young guys that you have under contract come together. Especially, it can't come in Cincinnati because Cincinnati doesn't have $300 million to pay for the thing.
Yeah.
It's one of the problems that baseball continues to have. We used to talk about this with Jim Bowden years ago.
Yeah.
The haves and the have-nots. Nothing has changed over the last 25 years.
And unfortunately, that's why I keep telling everybody, enjoy Ellie while he's here, because we're probably not going to be able to keep him. It sucks, but that's just the reality of where we're at.
I've cheered for two teams in my life, the Reds and the Indians, and they're both in the same boat.
Yes.
They get the guys like a CC Sabathia or a Cliff Lee or whatever, and then they're gone to the Yankees or whatever. Same thing with the Reds, and they've had to surrender so many good players.
Unfortunately. Yeah. All right, real quick, I'll get you out of here on this. What's your thoughts on the Reds coming into the season this year and the Terry Francona effect?
I think he's the right guy in the right place. I saw him come in Cleveland, take a group very much like this, very much young and inexperienced, and then with a couple of, they were able to sprinkle in a couple of young or veteran players. He was able to, he's patient, yet he's demanding. So I think he's a really good guy. I thought it was a good choice. I think they ran out of time with David Bell. It was the right thing to do. And I think Bob Castellini really is betting on Tito being the guy that could change it.
I hope so. One of the greatest statements that Tito said so far is, we're here to kick the other team's ass. I like that.
Yeah, I do too. Plus, these guys have had a couple of years now.
Mhm.
They had some success 2 years ago.
Yep.
They fell back last year. Maybe they found out what you have to do to play the game. You have to come in shape. The key, I think, to any season is staying healthy.
Yes.
If they can stay healthy, I think they'll be okay.
Exactly. Papo, I enjoyed watching you throughout the years. Like
Thank
I
you
said,
very much.
You and DJ were awesome to watch, so I appreciate everything you guys done for Cincinnati Sports. I appreciate you coming on and all that cool stuff.
Well, keep doing it. Thank you.
Thank
Take
you, sir.
care.
Take it
Bye-bye.
easy.